going to an astrologer and saying, when will I get married? Or when am I going to have children?
Right.
Isn't it more important to know, will I get happiness from the children? Will I have a happy marriage? Isn't that more important in terms of what my relationship is going to be?
Somebody is having a bad Surya, or Surya is not positioned in a favorable situation. What are the problems that the person is likely to attract in his life?
Firstly, being dependent on others, facing humiliating situations in their life. कुछ किया भी नहीं, but दोष आ गया. Ill health, inability to be recognized, to have that status that someone may want. Powerless.
Is it possible to look at a person and tell that he has a strong Surya or a weak moon? Like
in their behavior, definitely.
For instance, if somebody is very good looking, can we say he has a good Surya?
Yes.
Oh,
and
okay.
strong Chandra also. Someone said something to you. For many days you're thinking about it. You're unable to move on. ठीक है, हो गया. Let's move on. So you kind of wallow in that emotion for much longer than you need to.
We hear so much about Manglik dosh and the effects it has on not only the partner's marriage life but also on the partner's health. So can you today end this debate of Manglik versus non-Manglik for us?
Mangal is a planet of passion, fire. That's what Mangal is. A bad Mangal, I wouldn't say bad, but a negative Mangal, is that you don't know when to show aggression and when not to. You'll do it the other way. जब नहीं दिखाना चाहिए aggression, आप aggressive हो जाएंगे, और जब aggressive होना है, आप नहीं होंगे. That's why we say that millionaires don't use Jyotish, billionaires do.
Now coming to another planet in Budh.
That's a great remedy because Jupiter is Vedic knowledge. He has knowledge of everything, but that's his main interest.
I mean, timeless.
Timeless wisdom, ancient spiritual wisdom. That is what Brihaspati is about. Is to be kind and do positive things for other women. And we all know that women are women's greatest enemies.
Right.
Let's look at every household, every other household where men are always trying to keep the peace. There could be 3 girls in that house, daughter-in-laws, daughters, but there is differential treatment. Can't happen. You're just going to weaken your own Venus.
Right. Hello and welcome to Sanatan Samvad, a platform where ancient wisdom meets modern day reality. In the 21st century time where we live, in this life of hustle, who does not want to know about their future? How their new job will be, when they will get married, how their children will be, their education, their health, endless question. Often we resort to Jyotish Shastra to get an answer to all of these questions. But is Jyotisha, which is described as the Netra of the Vedas, only about answering our problems and solutions? Or is it more at a fundamental life of making us as a better human? To answer of this and much more of such questions related to Jyotisha and all the Navagrahas, their dashas, their mahadashas, pratyantar dashas, antardashas, we had a detailed and insightful conversation with Bani Ji, who was once a prime time reporter at the NDTV, has now taken the study of Jyotisha and is now changing numerous lives through her discourses and insightful conversation on her platform on Instagram and other places where she teaches Jyotisha. We discussed the Mahadashas, Antardashas of all the 9 relevant planets, how their impact comes to us even though they are so far from us, and simple remedy which when implemented in the right way does not only bring about a positive change in our Jyotish Dasha but also makes us a better human being as a person. Stay tuned till the end to get all the details and insights of this wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Bani Ji, for joining us today.
It's an honor and a privilege to be here.
Thank you so much. And before we start, I wish to know from you, how does it feel like coming from Delhi to Varanasi? Whenever you come here, what is it like?
Whenever I come to Kashi, I don't want to leave. I've already changed my flight a few times, and I think it's going to continue. But you don't feel like leaving because just the vibe here, you won't get it anywhere else.
Right. So true. And whenever somebody is leaving for Varanasi and they ask me for blessings, what I give them blessing? Kashi Yatra Punah Punah Praptiratham. May you always be blessed with Kashi Yatra again and again.
Absolutely. हमारे यहाँ कहा जाता है that the moment we start thinking of going to any तीर्थ,
Right.
हमारा पुण्य वहीं से जुड़ना शुरू हो जाता है. And when we actually start for that journey, It starts in its multiplication effect. So,
Beautiful.
हमारा सौभाग्य है that we are here in Kashi today.
It's Baba's wish.
Really, Mahadev.
Before I come to some of the most fundamental concepts and a lot about what people want to hear about Jyotish, I will ask a question from a very layman's perspective. For a layman who does not have an understanding of the Jyotish, who does not know what astrology is, how are the charts positioned, we are living on planet Earth. Sun, moon is so far away, so are the other planets. How can they practically influence our life? How would you explain something like this to?
A lot of people ask, is Pluto a planet that we consider?
Right.
Well, we don't. And sun and moon are not far away. We see them every day.
Yeah.
We see them every day. Pluto is very far away. That's why we don't consider Pluto. So that's the logic. Out of sight, out of mind. So sun and moon we see every day. And it's a simple thing. You will take birth at that moment when your planetary alignment is such that it matches your karma.
Right.
So it's all about karma. The horoscope is a map of your karma. It is what it is. And the first thing that Jyotish teaches you is to accept. If my life is going very positively, it is a result of my own past action. If it's not, then I need to improve that action. Because at some stage, we have to put in more effort than what is, say, the negative balance to make it positive. So Jyotish is the study of what your karma is. And once you realize that, that's where spirituality comes in. Right. That's where the religious part of faith and belief transforms to knowledge, awareness. And that's really the whole point. It's not just about going to an astrologer and saying, when will I get married?
Right.
Or when am I going to have children?
Right.
Isn't it more important to know, will I get happiness from the children that I have? Will I have a happy marriage? Isn't that more important in terms of what my relationship is going to be? So going with your life open, simple thing. People will go to an astrologer to know, मेरा business कैसे रहेगा? अच्छा, okay, what are you planning to do? I'm planning to open something in 6 months. Fair enough. Jyotish can tell you that it's probably the worst time to do it. The planetary alignment is such कि अभी बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी.
Right.
अगर आप 6 महीने, wait for 6 months, it's like putting your boat out in a storm. Why don't you wait for things to settle? So Jyotish is the Google Maps of your life. And that's why I switched tracks completely. Because
Right.
Jyotish has power. Power to understand,
Wow.
to evolve you, to heal you. And to be honest, there's no better guide. It's held my hand in my hardest moments. It's given me direction when I've been most lost. It's
Right.
the best and most trusted guide and counselor. You just have to follow and surrender. Not because you're weak, but because you develop that devotion. When something keeps happening again and again, and it just lights something within you,
Right.
then I have to say it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Beautifully explained. Even the Shastras, they mention Jyotish as the eyes of the Vedas.
Absolutely.
Right? And
Jyotish.
there's a very famous shloka which goes by Graha Dinam Jagat Sarvam. Everybody is under the influence of the planets. The planets are then controlled by the Devata. The Devata is controlled by the mantra. And the mantra is in the hands of the Brahman. They do the mastery over the mantras. That is why we worship them as Brahman Devata.
Yes.
So what a beautiful cycle of sequence of events as we understand this.
Everyone is, even Brahma, his karma is to keep creating.
Right.
Even Vishnu, his karma is to keep sustaining.
Right.
Everyone is bound by karma.
Right.
Everyone.
So when we discuss about astrology, and then we also mention karma. So is it our karma that we are born on a certain date, certain time, certain place? Because this is not something that is there in our own control. So how do we shape our own destiny? Because I am born in a certain time at a certain place. So is it all to do with the past life birth, or I can make my changes through my purushartha?
Once you're here, you can make changes. But those changes then go back to the Sanchit karma, the bank balance of your past karma, and that is what decides. We don't get to choose our parents. We don't get to choose our siblings. And that's why these relationships have the most amount of karma.
Right.
Because you can't change them midway. So yes, everything is basis your past action.
Right.
And action will involve your thought and your intention. Niyat kya hai aapki? So what motivates you, how you behave, how you think. Someone may not be able to see what you're thinking, but he knows. And that's the most important thing, and that's the most important relationship. That's what Jyotish leads you to understand, that it doesn't matter if everyone misunderstands me. It doesn't matter if they think I'm this. I'm not. He knows who I am. And that is the most important relationship that you have to nurture while you're here.
So for somebody who does not have their birth chart or birth details ready, because I've met many people who are not aware of their exact time, of their exact date, and especially in the older times, no such proper documentation was done. Can't Jyotish help people like them?
Of course, there is birth time rectification, and there are ways to find the right time, and there's no problem in that. Jyotish has a solution for everything.
Right.
And the more I study it, the more I realize I've wondered where I've been my whole life.
Right.
What I've really done with my whole life. So, yes, there is a proper solution to that.
Right. Coming to the 9 planets, and each of them have their own distinct characteristics, certain influence. We'll start with Surya, a Pratyaksha Devata in times of Kal Yuga. Every day we get the darshans, perhaps the most ignored Devata also in our own times.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think is the role and influence of Sun in our day-to-day lives, and also astrologically speaking, what role does Sun play in a particular person's chart?
So we are nothing but a small part of the sun. That's our soul.
Right.
The sun, and we come from the sun.
Right.
And that's where our soul comes from. Surya, as you said, is Pratyaksh Narayan, a divine that we see every day. The first thing I tell people in my classes is, this week, get up in the morning and go to the east part of your house and do a simple pranam. Because he is a divine form you see every day and you take for granted. And that's the thing about Surya. In Jyotish, we say Surya is our soul, hamari Atma. We all have an Atma, right? We don't look after our Atma at all. But that is where prayer, mantra comes in. That's for the soul. Exercises for the body, right? You read for the mind. But what are you doing for the soul? That's where spirituality comes in. Because you'll hear so many people say, "Hamare paas sab kuch hai, but we're very unhappy."
Right.
Right? So it's your inner life. Surya is your inner life. If you have a strong inner life, what will you have? You will be confident. You won't be somebody who will follow the trends. You will be somebody who sets the trends. You will have, what does the sun have? Its own light. It's not dependent on anyone.
Right.
It doesn't need to make friends with someone because it needs to shine its light. So it does as it pleases. It doesn't also ask you for a check at the end of the month saying, every day I come up, now please pay my hafta. No. It does it.
Yeah.
It's
Selfless.
very generous, selflessly, without us being even aware of what it does for us. So Surya is also that generosity. Karan bhi to Surya Putra hain.
Ji.
He gave his kavach, right?
Danveer.
So, absolutely, when he was asked.
Yes.
So the most generous always keeps his word. Does Surya ever say that kal subah main nahi aunga? Late night ho gaya. He's there every morning. So these are the qualities that Surya, if you have a strong Surya on your birth chart, you will have these qualities in you. It's your ego, it's your power, status. Surya represents the people in power.
Right.
Right? And the thing about Surya is, there are many ways to strengthen it if it's weak. It's your physical health. Physical health, mental health, spiritual health. Because आपका जो मणिपुर चक्र है, वहाँ पे सूर्य है. And in a sense, हम रोज एक हवन कर रहे हैं. हम खाना खाते हैं. We offer food to this fire inside of us. And we have to look after this flame that's inside of us. So Surya is in charge of our digestion. If Surya is weak, we are likely to have digestion problems.
Right.
So it's linked to many things. So which is why a simple thing growing up, we've been told, always be punctual. Why? Because Surya is punctual. His sunrise time is not negotiable. It's exact. He is the clock that we follow. So be punctual. Don't be arrogant. We can't replace Surya in our lives, in our life.
Yeah.
Does he have that arrogance? No.
Wow.
The moment
So
you are
beautiful.
arrogant, you are going to damage your Surya. And the other very important thing is your relationship with your father. That is represented by Surya in your birth chart. If you have a weak Surya, simple thing. Just do positive things for your father. Understand that you may have a strained relationship, but it is your karma. And you must live that out to the best of your ability. It's not important what he does, it's important what you do.
Right. If somebody is having a bad Surya or Surya is not positioned in a favorable situation, what are the problems that the person is likely to attract in his life?
Well, firstly, being dependent on others,
Right.
facing humiliating situations in their life. कुछ किया भी नहीं, but दोष आ गया. Ill health, inability to be recognized, to have that status that someone may want, powerless.
Right.
So, in these situations, you know your Surya is weak. A simple thing. सुबह उठिए, सूर्य के साथ उठिए.
Right.
Get up when the sun is up, not 3 hours later. A lot of people give Surya ko jal at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, noon.
Right.
Surya has been up since
Right.
6 a.m. let's say. एक सूर्य की भी एक पहचान है, एक रूप है, और वो बदलता रहता है.
जी.
In the morning, at 6 a.m., we'll say it's in a more Saumya form, right? Like a mother who wakes up their child in the morning,
So beautiful.
right? There is love, there is compassion, but by 12 o'clock, I don't think any mother will have that same patience. So in the same way, if you want to get the blessings of doing or giving, offering arg to Surya, then do it as soon as the sun is up.
Right.
Not at 11 o'clock. He's been up for a long time.
Yes.
He's not even going to notice what you've done now.
Right.
So there are rules and regulations. A lot of people don't get the results.
So important you mentioned this. Yeah, because
Absolutely.
there are so many people
Yeah.
who would want to give Sur Arg when they are comfortable giving.
Absolutely. You have to actually just do it as within 1 hour of sunrise. That's when you'll get the best results.
Right.
Not after that. Maximum 10:30. Maximum 8:30.
Right. What are the qualities of moon when we study Chandra? Because it is also Pratyaksha Devata in a way. We daily take the darshans of Chandrama, although in alternating phases.
Absolutely.
So, how does Jyotish look at Chandrama?
Chandrama. The feminine. The
Right.
mother. Compassion. When the sun goes down, what do we all do? We go home, we spend time with family, there's cooking involved,
Right.
dinner time, and sleep, right?
Right.
So the energy of Chandra is more about family, home,
Right.
maternal, compassionate,
Comfort.
empathetic, comfort. Surya is all about work. You're not sleeping in the day. Surya's energy is about achievement, parakram. That's the time we are working and putting in the most amount of effort. We are sustaining ourselves.
Are these two planets, Surya and Chandrama, also indicative of our body clocks? Like we're
Of
supposed
course.
to work in the morning and rest in the
Absolutely.
night?
Just how animals live their lives.
Yeah.
And how we are meant to. And that's why they say that your meals have to be in accordance with this cycle.
Right.
So Chandrama will give you, if you have a strong Chandrama, you will have peace of mind. Bhagwan Ram, for instance, we call him Purushottam because equilibrium in his thoughts, in his
Right.
mind. A strong moon will give you that. Doesn't matter what's going on the outside. There's always going to be a problem on the outside. There are always going to be ups and downs. But to have that equilibrium.
Right.
Your inner life is very satisfactory, very content. आपका मून ठीक नहीं होगा आपकी कुंडली में, you can have everything in the world. You will always feel a lack, insecure, lonely, tendency to get easily depressed. You'll always look at things. Grass is always greener on the other side. We know that. But you'll have a tendency to see and concentrate on what you don't have.
Right. Never satisfied.
Never satisfied. Always wanting more, needing more.
And are fluctuations in a person's mood, in a person's health, in a person's, say, financial stability also equating to the positions as we observe with the lunar cycle?
Absolutely. Because that is a relationship between Surya and Chandra. A Tithi
Right.
is 12 degrees, Surya and Chandra. And that is what every day you see that beautiful dance between Surya and
Right.
Chandra.
Wow.
Right? So, Tithis is how you receive relationships in your life.
Right.
And a stronger Tithi, a better Tithi does mean better relationships. Relationships are the moon because it's the water content in your body. You're 70% water. Everything you feel. That's why जब हम मंत्र करते हैं, when we
जी.
do a mantra, place a silver glass in front of us, and if we say the mantra aloud, we then drink that water. The water becomes charged.
Right.
Charged with the vibration of that mantra. That gives us double the benefit. Why do we go and get, say, water, Amrit? We call it Amrit from, say, the Golden Temple. Because वहाँ 600 साल से Gurbani is going on. That water is charged. Water holds memory. And when you drink that water, all of that is something you experience on the inside.
Even if you see in the ancient times, always a temple had a water body nearby, where it was either for the Abhishek in the temple, people
Yes.
used to drink that water, take snan in. But you always had a water body. Still, you go to the temples in South, you'll always see. So connected. Is it possible to look at a person and tell that he has a strong Surya or a weak moon? Like
In their behavior, definitely.
For instance, if somebody is very good looking, can we say he has a good Surya?
Yes.
Oh,
And
okay.
strong Chandra also.
Right, okay.
Chandra's also Som hai.
Right.
So Chandra Tattva has to be very, very strong as well.
Right. But behavior, you feel, is a more tangible
Yes.
criteria to judge in this respect. Okay. If somebody is having a bad moon in their chart, what are the problems they are likely to face? What is life going to be like, and how can they correct it?
Chandra is your relationship with your mother, just like Surya is your relationship with father and father figures. The first thing is that you will feel a lack there. There may be the bonding is not the way you hoped it to be. So that's the first thing. Of course, your mental peace, your level of contentment is going to be very dissatisfactory.
Right.
Fluctuating emotions, feeling low, feeling isolated, depressed, more melancholic, inability to get out of negative emotions very easily. What that really means is that someone said something to you, for many days you're thinking about it. You're unable to move on, theek hai, ho gaya, let's move on. So you kind of wallow in that emotion for much longer than you need to. You're unable to pull yourself out of those feelings. So the one thing for Chandra, I would say, is the worship of Mahadev.
Right.
He calms, he cools the mind. That's why we do a Rudrabhishek.
That's why he holds the Chandrama.
He wears Chandra on his head. Chandra Devta went to Mahadev when he was cursed by his father-in-law. And Mahadev said, I'm not going to take away the whole curse, but I'll alter it. So that's why the moon waxes and wanes. So in the same way, our mind is always waxing and waning.
Right.
We do have 2 days in the month where we call what we call Chandra Ashtam, where we are likely to feel more low than usual. So these are all moon cycles. They're all the moon cycles. So moon must be strong in a birth chart because it's also the planet that gives dhan yogas. It kind of makes the chart more receptive to wealth. That's we always said when we were growing up, Chanda Mama Dur Ke. Because the Mama is Chand and he is the brother of Lakshmi Ji.
Right.
So when you have a strong moon, then your dhan yogas also get strengthened. So both Surya and Chandra, right? We have 3 eyes, Sun, Moon and Jupiter right here. Moon will give you a part of us when we talk of the Ganga and the Ida and the Pingala Nadi,
Yes.
right? So it's the sun channel and the moon channel. You need both to be working well in your life. Otherwise, that wisdom of Guru will not come.
So beautifully explained. Now coming to another planet in Mars, Mangal. In most of people's life, Jyotish comes at the time of marriage. And we hear so much about Manglik dosh and the effects it has on not only the partner's marriage life but also on the partner's health. So, can you today end this debate of Manglik versus non Manglik for us?
Firstly, Manglik dosh is of many types.
Right.
And Mangal is a planet of passion, fire. That's what Mangal is.
Luck?
And luck, of course. But when we are talking of marriage, we're talking
Right.
of passion. Passion होगा तो थोड़ा argument भी होगा. Argument होगा तो थोड़ा aggression होगा. Right? So Mangal gives all of that. तो Mangal दोष है doesn't mean कि आपकी शादी नहीं चलेगी. And there's no generalized way to saying that it's completely inauspicious. You can have various levels of Manglik dosh where it's not as severe. That means that there might be more arguments. There more aggression, misunderstandings in the marriage. But it doesn't mean that the marriage is going to end, right? So Mangal is Tuesday, Mangalvar, and the deity is Bhagwan Kartikeya.
Okay.
Hanumanji we worship on Tuesdays, of course Saturdays as well, because he gives us that courage.
Right.
But Mars, people relate more to property, land related things.
Yes.
वो भूमि पुत्र हैं.
जी.
तो भूमि से जो आता है वो मंगल देता है. So Mars is many things. सबसे पहले तो if you talk about even things like science, logic, engineering, all of this comes from Mangal. To be a good surgeon, use instruments. Mangal कौन है? He's the one who fights.
Right.
वो दंड देते हैं.
Wow.
And he's the one who fights. So we say कि सूर्य king है, Chandra is the queen, and Mangal is the commander in chief.
Right.
Right? So commander in chief का क्या है? Commander in chief is proud and happy when he's able to kill that many people in battle. So his dharma is that. It's different. Right? Mangal अगर आपका खराब होगा,
Right.
then आप ये aggression को misuse भी कर सकते हैं. For instance, these days somebody parks their car in front of your house. आपका बुरा मंगल है. आप जाके मार धाड़, tire puncture, all of these things can happen. But if it's a Mangal that's working well, you'll go, you'll have that conversation, you'll be aggressive when you need to. The problem with a bad Mangal, I wouldn't say bad, but a negative Mangal, is that you don't know when to show aggression and when not to. You'll do it the other way. जब नहीं दिखाना चाहिए aggression, आप aggressive हो जाएंगे, और जब aggressive होना है, आप नहीं होंगे. So, Mangal, Shani, Rahu-Ketu की जब हम बात करते हैं, these are the क्रूर पाप ग्रह.
Right.
Right? And so there is that little negativity that's associated, but you have to see the kundali.
Right.
आपको कुंडली देख के ही पता चलेगा कितना severe है.
Right. So what happens if a Manglik marries a non-Manglik? How is the married life affected?
Sometimes two wrongs can make a right. The negative and negative can actually become positive. So yes,
Right.
that is true. But there's a reason we say men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Right.
And Mars is also your sexual passion.
Right.
So the position of Mars in your birth chart really matters in terms of your marital happiness as well, as do other grahas. See, we have so many layers to us. There's not just one thing we're thinking. There's so much going on. Kundali has to be able to reflect all of those things. So yes, it's very complicated. But Mangal is your siblings. आपके भाई, people who you have brotherly relationships with. Even if you don't have a sibling, people you have brotherly relationships with. Say, who represents Mar, Dhar, all of that? What age? Boys, young boys.
Right.
So doing positive things for them helps your Mangal. Doing positive things for your siblings
Right.
helps Mangal. I would say that more than just visiting a temple,
Yes.
in addition, if you do positive things
Yes.
for others, a very simple solution to everything. And my favorite remedy is that if you're facing a problem in your life, then help someone with the very same problem.
Wow.
That always helps because you've got to put out that energy of help. So Mangal is all the people, all those little boys between 12 to say 17 years of age.
Right.
People who are in the armed forces.
Right.
The ones who protect you. Mangal आपको protect करता है.
Right.
Dharma of protection is with Mangal. So anyone who protects you, your guard downstairs, in your home, the people in the army, the air force, the navy, all people in uniform are Mangal and doing positive things for them. So when we talk of Mangal, we're also talking about the traffic police.
Right.
And on a hot summer day, going and distributing some lassi or water to them is also a way to make your Mangal positive. Mangal is all about action, doing something all the time. Take time out to not do anything as another remedy. There's so much you can do in your everyday action to balance the planetary effects. It's not necessary that if you don't vibe with doing a mantra or you don't want to sit in a puja, there is nothing you can do. There's a solution to everything.
Small changing of habits can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
I've observed that people who have a negative or unfavorable position of Mangal in their chart, they're more likely to fall into land-related dispute. Is that true?
Yes, that is. Because Mangal, as we said, is Bhumi Putra.
Yes.
And represents the property in your life. So, yes, but a simple solution is to not put it in your name or have someone else
Right.
co-own that property with you. There are solutions to it.
But for that, you should be informed of your
course, you have to
position
be
of Mangal.
informed because sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yes.
It just doesn't work out, and this is a simple solution.
Right.
Sometimes a horoscope can tell you what should you invest in. Are you going to find more luck in the stock market or in property? Where should you invest and how should you invest? And of course, when you should invest.
Right.
So, like I said, it guides you on each and every aspect of your life. It gives you the bigger picture of everything. And why would you? That's why we say that millionaires don't use Jyotish, billionaires do.
So nicely put. Now coming to another planet in Budh. Now when we say Budh, the first thing or that it connotes to in a day-to-day word, that is Buddhi. So is Budh really to do with Buddhi?
Absolutely. Intellect.
Right.
But that's the one difference between Guru, Jupiter, and Mercury. That is Budh. You can be intelligent, but not be wise. And similarly, you can have wisdom, but no intelligence. So that is really the difference between Mercury and Jupiter. So Mercury is learning.
Right.
It's your intelligence. It's where it develops. But in today's day and age, Mercury is the quintessential businessman. It gives you the ability to be an outstanding entrepreneur.
Right.
So Mercury is the planet of finance. If you want to be a trader, a businessman, you need a strong Mercury. Because it's the planet of finance. It's the planet that gives you that ability to buy and sell, trading.
So if a child is having an unfavorable position of Mercury or Budh in their planet, is it likely that they'll have a slow cognitive development?
Absolutely. And also could have problems in their education.
Right.
Because Mercury is education. And one of the ways to strengthen it is to do Ganapati worship.
Right.
Bhagwan Vishnu, depending on the position
Right.
of Mercury, these are possible solutions. But again, if your child is having learning problems, a disability, help another child with a learning disability. There is so much you can do. Help children get an education.
Yes.
Donate some of your time to teaching someone. That's actually a great remedy for both Mercury and Jupiter. But Ganapati,
Right.
Ganapati sadhana will definitely help because वो बुद्धि के देवता है.
Right. Absolutely. Coming to Brihaspati, Devaguru,
Devaguru.
as we call him. So, what are the qualities that we can observe in a person who is having a strong Brihaspati in his Kundli?
It's like when you look into water,
Yes.
you see your own reflection,
Yes.
right? And a strong Jupiter in your birth chart will give you that ability to reflect, to empathize, to look within. Because we've all got some qualities that are quite objectionable.
Yes.
But Jupiter gives you the ability to introspect and
Wow.
shine that torchlight on yourself. The wisdom to know that you may be negative, but so am I. And let me start by working on myself. Guru, we go to a guru. Does the guru say to us, oh, you've come to me with such a small problem?
Right.
You know, we go with our little first world problems. So
Yes.
this has happened. My maid has gone. My life is destroyed. The guru never says that you've come with such a silly thing.
Yeah, he
The guru is
accepts you.
so empathetic, is so compassionate, because he understands that even he's been there in that position at some time. So Guru is the planet of wisdom
Right.
and divine luck.
Leadership qualities.
Leadership qualities is more Sun, more
Right.
Mars. But Guru gives you everything that is worth in your life. Knowledge,
Right.
the inclination towards spirituality. And that is the biggest blessing in your life. To have a guru who tells you right from wrong, who advises you in the correct manner, that is all you need.
I once had a devotee reaching out to me mentioning, Harshi, I am having Brihaspati in my chart where no Grihastha would want to have a niche Brihaspati in the Kundli. Where are we looking, especially with regards to a female, if the Brihaspati is not in a favorable position?
Brihaspati is the husband in a
Right.
female horoscope.
Okay.
And obviously, if the condition of that Jupiter is problematic, then there will be a problem in the relationship between the husband and the wife.
Right.
There could be a situation where everyone says, oh, what a great husband you have, he's so supportive, but he may not work for you. He may not be supportive towards you.
Right.
It doesn't matter what a great person he is otherwise. So Jupiter is also, it owns the second house of the horoscope, which is, it's the Karak, the hand of God. Of the second house, the fifth house, the ninth house, the 11th house. The second house is your accumulated wealth and assets, your family life, your kutumb. Fifth house is your past karma, your children, the happiness you get from your children, your ability to chant mantras, to say go on a tirth, your inclination towards spirituality. Ninth house is your guru, your bhagya. Where does your guru, your fortune, where do these things come from? Positive past karma. They don't just drop from the sky.
Right.
11th house, your profit and gain. So look at what all Brihaspati is owning, is controlling in a horoscope. It's also, yes, children, the happiness you get from your children. So it's a very important planet. If it is weak, you should strengthen it. You should make the effort to strengthen it.
How can we strengthen?
It depends on the planetary positions in many ways. But again, Jupiter is wisdom, knowledge. He is the advisor,
Right.
right? If you are somebody who is in a position to give advice to people, then on a Thursday, his day is Guruvar,
Yes.
right? Thursday. Take some time out from your busy day to advise people, to give direction to someone who's a little lost.
Yes.
Teach children, contribute to children who are learning the Vedas, for
Right.
instance. That's a great remedy because Jupiter is Vedic knowledge. He has knowledge of everything, but that's his main interest.
I mean, timeless.
Timeless wisdom, ancient spiritual wisdom. That is what Brihaspati is about. So, helping children, very easy solution.
Right.
We all, in a country like ours, there's so many children who are unable to get an education.
Absolutely.
On a Thursday, spend 1 hour teaching them a skill. Teach them a skill that tomorrow they can make into something out of their lives.
Right. Now coming to a very contrary and opposite planet, from Devaguru Brihaspati to Daitya Guru Shukra. We understand that Shukra stands for luxury, for comfort, for wellness. How does Jyotish actually look at Shukra? Is it only about these things?
To me, Shukra is the color in your life.
Right.
Otherwise, we'd just be a black and white image. It's the color that makes life worth living.
Right.
And Shukra, yes, is comforts and luxury and all things beautiful. But at a higher level, Shukra is Mahalakshmi. And what does she have? Unconditional love and compassion for all. So we all at some point must strive, because Shukra is also that love. It's that relationship that you share with your partner, right? The spouse in the birth chart is Shukra. So if Shukra is weak, the bonding between the husband and wife will be below average. If Shukra is weak, you won't have access to the kind of luxuries you may want, or the comforts wherever you go. And let's be real, if someone's given a choice to stay in a 5-star hotel or a 1-star hotel, no one's going to say, no, I choose to be in a 1-star, right? Everyone would prefer. Moon and Chandra and Venus, both are the Jala Tattva Grahas. Right? And in the same way, both want that security as well. Right? So Shukra represents women in general. So एक simple remedy है, which I'm sure women will find very difficult to do, is to be kind and do positive things for other women. And we all know that women are women's greatest enemies. Let's look at every household, every other household where men are always trying to keep the peace. There could be 3 girls in that house, daughter-in-laws, daughters, but there is differential treatment. Can't happen. You're just going to weaken your own Venus. You have to start making positive changes from your own home. Not asking for women empowerment outside, but empowering your own first. And that is in your home. There are mothers, there are in-laws. Everyone must not look at these petty relationships, but look at everything from a point of view that this is another human being. And if I am going to put out negativity towards them, I will get that same negativity back in some other way. So, very simple. Be good and kind to other women. That is the best remedy for Shukra. And I would say the most difficult also.
So true, so true. In of late and recent times, Shukra has also been equated to extramarital affairs. Does it really have to do with it?
There have to be other factors as well. But a sexual relationship is also Shukra, yes. So it depends on the placement of Shukra, Rahu, the 7th house of your marriage. Sun is a very important factor that we see in this. So it's a mix of many things. You can't just look at one Graha and say that this Graha will give extramarital affairs. But Shukra is the planet of love and marital happiness, the spouse. So obviously we look at this planet for all of these results.
So for all those who are watching and they want a dream car, and many have the fantasy, so is Shukra going to give it to them?
I hope it does. But like I said, start being nice to other ladies in your life. Do positive things for them.
So important to being kind. Now perhaps I'm sure many of those who would have clicked on the video to listen to this, and every third person is going through some or the other Mahadasha, Pratyantar Dasha, or Sade Sati of Shani. Is Shani a Krur Graha?
Yes. It is also a Papa Graha. And Shani, we say, is the uncrowned king of Kal Yuga. He's given himself the title. Because that is who Shani is. वो कर्म के देवता हैं. I don't know why we keep blaming him really. He's not to be blamed. We are to be blamed. It is our karma.
He does justice with it.
He's just showing us a mirror and saying, here, take a look at who you are. And that is Shani. That's why he's so unpopular. Because he's like the judge, the jury, and the executioner.
Wow.
So, with Shani, it's all about tough love. Like a father, he'll be strict with us that you need to get this done, be very disciplined. Shani wants you to have change at a very fundamental, foundational level, where you're not just slipping back into bad patterns. So obviously he's got to be strict with us, because if I say something to you once, that please do this, you may not listen. But if I hold you to it, I tell you a couple of times, I have to make sure that you have understood the lesson. Only then. That's why Saturn stays in a sign, a zodiac sign, for 2.5 years. He makes sure that you learn the lesson that you have to learn. He's here to teach you that lesson. But with Shani, there is a misconception that he's all about poverty and there's no materialistic success that can be attributed to him. That's absolutely incorrect. कहते हैं कि शनि जहाँ तक आप देख सकते हो वो पूरा साम्राज्य आपको दे सकते हैं. But only if you have done things per him. What does Shani want from you? Don't take any shortcuts. Work so hard that you don't have time to wipe the sweat off your back. Right? With Shani, you have to be humble. He hates arrogance.
Right.
He hates arrogance, absolutely. Be very patient, persevering. I call it the triple D effect, which is, dedication, devotion, and the third being discipline. So with Shani, discipline is key. You can't give up. Yes, in Sade Sati periods, you may have a lot more struggles and obstacles. Things that seem very easy can become complicated. But again, if you're going to take shortcuts to get out of those situations, you're just amplifying the negativity going forward. Shani is trying to teach you something, learn the lesson, step away. Take 2 steps back from any situation that's bringing a lot of negativity to you and ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Larger picture. Look at the bigger picture.
Right.
Don't concentrate all your emotions in that moment and ruin your own mental happiness. Right? So, step back, see what Shani is trying to teach you, learn the lesson and move on. The faster you learn it, the less you're going to have to suffer.
It's more about the conduct and also more about what we should do in an ideal situation rather than what we want to do.
Shani will always exemplify ideal qualities.
Right.
Being honest, being compassionate. Shani hates monarchy. He's all about democracy. He's all about the masses.
Right.
So that's why we say the best thing for Shani is to do something for the masses. People who work very hard. Or we say people whose work gets dirt under their fingernails.
Right.
The labor. Do you think that they work harder than you and me in a day? I think they do. But what do they get at the end of it?
Yes.
They get a very insignificant amount of money and they are toiling physically all day, doing positive things for them, giving them food. Why do you just do it on a Saturday? Do it every day.
Right.
Giving them footwear.
Yes.
Donating dry ration. Doing annadan. Doing for the less fortunate is something that Shani will always reward you for. Because you have to share in your abundance. You have to share in your abundance if you want positivity in your life. Right. If you've been blessed and you are comfortable, then you have to do more.
Yes.
Because in the eyes of Shani, he wants that equality. Right. So always make sure that with Shani, you're not taking any shortcuts. You're always working very hard, very diligently, devoted in doing your duty. With Shani, duty is all about, I don't want to do something.
Right.
I don't want to do it. But I still do it because it's my duty.
Yes.
I must do it. So many times there are things we don't want to do.
Yes.
But we do them because it's our duty. Shani will reward you for that. Shani is the most isolated planet. He's the furthest amongst all the grahas. So he's very lonely.
Yes.
He's very lonely. He's very isolated. In our homes, who are the most lonely and isolated people?
Right.
Who are they? The elderly.
Right.
And how much time do we spend with them? How much seva do we do of them? So Shani is about seva to the elderly.
Beautiful.
Shani is also people who are removed from, a lot of the action, excitement of everyday life. Say somebody who cleans a toilet every day. Right. Imagine that their job, where they spend 8 to 10 hours every day, is a toilet. Cleaning that toilet.
Yes.
Give them a tip that they'll be completely shocked with. So being and having compassion and feeling for a minute, oh my God, this is what this person does every single day. Spending 3 minutes while you're there, how's your day, how's it going? Treating them like they're also human. So with Shani, like I said, compassion, intention, niyat. What is the intention behind your action is very important. He is the devta of karma. He's not going to spare you. You can't beg him and say, please mujhe chhod do. He's going to give you exactly what he deserves. He didn't even spare Mahadev.
Right. You have to do your duties.
You have to do your duty. You have to put your best foot forward in everything. And he will reward you. He will. There is no way he will not. He is the best teacher, the most patient teacher. What he's trying to do, he's like a chisel to a stone.
Right.
He's trying to perfect you, give you that very strong foundation. Grahon mein, or when we say in avatars,
जी.
Shani is related to the Kurma avatar, जिसके
Yes.
ऊपर सारा सागर मंथन हुआ था. What did it give? A very strong base and foundation. Shani is here to give you a strong base and foundation so that you don't slip back into your bad habits.
Right.
That's why he's at you at a long time. He keeps teaching you that lesson so that you don't forget it, so that we evolve. Because we're not here to do really very much. We're here not to become the best teacher or the best purohit. We are actually here to evolve and become the best version of ourselves.
So true. The most controversial and perhaps the most difficult period, or a perceived difficult period, the Shani Sade Sati, 7.5 years of Shani Mahadasha. Is it only about giving us back what we have given, or is it more to do with our karma?
Sade Sati, 7.5 years.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that all 7.5 years are going to be bad, firstly. When the Sade Sati starts, yes, what you might experience is that the very easy things in your life suddenly get a bit complicated. Something that didn't require so much of an effort now requires that. There are more struggles, there are more obstacles. But for some people, Sade Sati can be amazing. It's not that it's downhill now for 7.5 years at all. There could be pockets of time periods in that. That can be a bit challenging. But again, it depends on the horoscope in all. Somebody with a strong moon, with a strong sun may not have that same experience of a Sade Sati.
Right.
Because what is it about? How are you dealing with your external environment?
Right.
Right? And what karma have you done? This is a time of cleansing your negative karma. Shani comes to do that. He comes to teach you the lessons that you need to learn. What kind of lessons is he going to teach depends on your karma. So you can't really say that it's going to be terrible this way or not. We always say for fire signs, which is for Aries, for Leo, for Sagittarius, the fire signs, their Sade Sati can be more challenging. But you have to look at what Shani really is trying to do. Yes, he's trying to evolve you. If you see Shani Devta, he's holding a bow, an arrow, and he's holding a kind of a javelin.
Yes.
Right? And all of these are weapons that he uses to evolve us. How? When he throws the javelin at you, right? It's like a quick thing. It could manifest in sudden loss of a loved one. Right? It could manifest in loss of status in society overnight. The bow and arrow is also, these are all weapons of attack that he uses to cause that psychological trauma that we need. Because a lot of times there is so much delusion. I think I'm this great person and that no one can, life cannot go on without me. So Shani Ji will come to remove that illusion, to remove that arrogance. He comes to remove your attachments. You see a child, when a child is weaned off its bottle, there's so much of trauma.
Yes,
but it has to be done, right?
Yes. It cannot
So
always go.
Shani's point is that let me make you spend time with yourself. That's the only time that you're really going to evolve. You spend time with yourself. You work on your inner life. Now, he might find that you're just living life on the outside. So what will he do? He'll isolate you. He'll make your loved ones may move continents. You may lose a loved one.
Right.
He forces you to spend time with yourself, which is why ordinarily when you are getting into a Sade Sati, please start spending time with yourself. Start concentrating on your inner life as well.
Right.
Because Shani Ji's point is, if you can't spend time with yourself, then how else will anyone else spend time with you? So he forces you, he isolates you. What was Corona about? Everyone was forced to spend time with themselves,
Right.
right?
And this,
So,
this started after a Shani Amavasya Grahan.
correct. So, Shani is saying, grow up, detach. He's the planet of detachment. He gives you the wisdom of detachment, the wisdom to pray. You know, Shani Ji was cursed twice,
Yes.
right? He was cursed by his wife, that whatever he looks at is going to get completely, is going to get, whatever he looks at will get destroyed. And then Ma Parvati cursed him as well. And she had to, of course, alter her curse because it wasn't his fault. But that's why Shani Ji is about, in many ways, like a wise old man who's seen all the colors of life, the ups and downs of life. And that's how he wants you to progress in your journey. He doesn't really care whether you like him or not.
Right.
He doesn't care that आप उनको बुरा भला कह रहे हो.
Right.
His point is, I'm a teacher, I have to teach you. And he humbly, which he expects you to do as well,
Yes.
be very humble. In your Sade Sati Shani, humility is what will take you, will make all that difference in your life. No arrogance, humility, and dedication and devotion. On Saturdays, keeping a simple fast, giving up something that you love. Because you're telling Shani Ji, don't come and punish me. I am trying to do it a little by little. Self-punishment.
Right.
Because yes, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have negative
It's
karma.
beautiful.
So give up something you like. Okay, your health doesn't permit you to fast. Doesn't matter. Whatever you could. Jitna aapka samarth hai, aap utna kijiye. But do something. Make an effort. You cannot come to an astrologer and expect that astrologer to fix your life.
Right.
They can't do it. They can guide you
So true.
on how to fix it. But the effort has to be yours, the devotion has to be yours, and the perseverance has to be yours. It can't be the astrologers. There's no magic wand. It's not my karma, it's yours.
It's beautifully explained. Every third person going through a Shani, Sade Sati, Mahadasha, Pratyantar Dasha, give us a common remedy which is going to help all of them.
I would say fast on a Saturday. Do seva. Seva to laborers, the homeless, the handicapped, lepers.
Right.
Go out there, ask them what they need. Help them. Shani Ji wants love. Very simply. He's not a Graha you can fool by wearing an expensive gem or chanting just mantras without concentrating on them. No.
Right.
He cannot be fooled. So, Shani being the most isolated Graha, the furthest, he wants love.
Right.
Genuinely love him. Thank him. Make a relationship with him. I always feel that the divine is something that you have to make a relationship with, like we make a relationship with others in our life. What do? We get to know them. We understand them. We then, we do things that they like. We try and do that, we try and have a give and take relationship, right? You can't just reach out to the divine at a bad time in your life. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे ना कोई, जो सुख में सुमिरन करे, दुख काहे को होए. So, having some form of a spiritual life, spending some time a day, Shani is very happy with that. He wants you to detach.
Right.
He doesn't want you to be attached to that lamp that you bought.
Right.
He's trying to tell you it's going to go one day. You're going to leave everything one day.
Right.
So let me point you in the direction of things that are going to be more lasting in your life.
Right.
So that is what he's trying to teach you.
Making you learn, unlearn, relearn.
Absolutely. And you can learn the hard way.
Yeah.
He can keep trying to teach you.
Yeah.
He is not going to stop. So you've got to get with his program. You've got to fall in line. But the one thing about Shani is that he may delay, but he will never deny.
So beautifully explained. Worshipping Hanumanji and Kal Bhairav, does it help in Shani Sade Sati?
Absolutely. It definitely does. I'm going to put you on the hot seat now. We say that Kashi Vishwanath is like Surya. and the 8 other grahas are like the Ashtabhairav. We know the worship of Kal Bhairav does negate the malefic effects of the Krur Pap grahas, Mangal, Shani, Rahu, and Ketu. So, what would you suggest as a sadhana, a way forward? How should someone start who has never approached or worshipped Kal Bhairav before?
First thing is just being true to yourself and to those around you. Kal Bhairav is one devata who really likes and appreciates honesty. So if you are honest to those around you, you can be sure of his guidance and protection in every situation. In terms of remedy, feeding some sweet substance or sweet rotis to street dogs, helping out the students studying in the Veda Pathshala because they are the Sakshat Swarup of Batuk Bhairav, especially the children who are below 8 years of age. And in your own capacity, if you can just chant with the Kal Bhairav Ashtakam on every Saturday, it can bring about a tremendous change in not just making these planets favorable, but also uplifting your spiritual consciousness. If you observe the Kal Bhairav Ashtakam, it gives you everything that is Bhukti Mukti Dayakam. Salvation also, and the requirements of our day-to-day lives are being fulfilled. Vichitra Punyavardhanam, the Punya Karma which we might not have even imagined beyond our 5 senses, that Punya Karma is given to us. What is taken back? Kal Bhairav Ashtakam, Pathanti ye Manoharam, in the last stanza. Shok, Moh, Dainya, Lobh, Kop, Tap, all these things are destroyed from our life. And what does it mention at the Dev Prayanti Kal Bhairav Andri Sannidindram? He stays with you like a complete torch bearer in every situation. He guards and protects. He's one of the most compassionate devatas who does not leave the hands of his devotee in any situation. No matter what the situation is, you will not be judged also. He'll make sure to pull you out of that trouble and only take rest then and there.
And I'll add that not just on Saturdays, even on Tuesdays.
Absolutely.
Not just Saturdays, I would say every day.
Every day.
भीम काल भैरव को अपने कंधे पे बिठा के लाए थे
जी.
काशी. So there's a lot of confusion about Kal Bhairav, Ashtabhairav, Batuk Bhairav. Just clear this confusion, because when you're approaching the divine in some form or the other to create a relationship, it's important to know how to start.
So everything is a manifestation of Kal Bhairav. Everything. The Charachar Jagat we believe is the Swarup of Mahakal. Bhagwan Kal Bhairav himself. He is the Lord of time. He is the Lord of death. He is the death of the death. Even death is feared of Bhagwan Kal Bhairav. He is that ferocious. The first line of the Ashtakam mention that the luminous, the shine of Bhagwan Kal Bhairav is equivalent to Koti Surya, crores of suns being put together. So Bhagwan Kal Bhairav's presence is that light, that knowledge, that wisdom in all of our lives. All the Ashtabhairav are only the extended Swarup of Bhagwan Kal Bhairav, and they're there in every different directions of the city, guarding in a certain way with their respective matrika. All the Ashtabhairavs have their Ashtamatrikas. The Ashtabhairavs have their own respective Vahan. To people's surprise, there are certain Bhairavs who do not ride a Vahan of dog. For example, the Asitang Bhairav, his Vahan is a swan. Then we have Unnamat Bhairav. He is making a certain sound in the direction of Varanasi, which is guarding and keeping the enemies away from the city. That's the fundamental aspect of Bhagwan Kal Bhairav's worship. He's the protector, fearless protector, guardian, guards you in every situation. He's like the elder member of the family, the guardian, who will always give you the right advice and the know-how of how to deal the situation. So we all live in this Rahuvian age, as we call the digital age of social media, mobile phones, where we get all the information from. It is a first-hand source of information. And Rahu is also the Graha which misleads a lot, like the social media, shows you a lot of Maya, a lot of distractions. How is Rahu in your view?
Rahu and Ketu firstly are shadow planets.
Right.
You haven't learnt about them in school. Right? You can't see them in the sky. They're mathematical points. Right? And they are mathematical points of the moon. So obviously creating delusions is something that they do. But you have to understand that they are two sides of the same coin. Right? Rahu is all about the future, the West, moving forward. Ketu is all about the past. Right? That is why it talks of spiritual knowledge and moksha. Rahu is we say in many ways that Rolling Stones song can't get no satisfaction. He always wants more and more and
Yes.
more. So
Yes.
signifies discontentment in many ways. But Rahu has some great aspects to it. Rahu and Ketu are the serpent forces in our lives that talk about that cyclical time.
Right.
Right? What goes around comes around.
Right.
And small doses of poison is something we all need in our life.
Right.
You know, Chandragupta Maurya used to get small doses of poison in his food.
Hmm.
Chanakya used to give it to him so
Right.
that he would become immune to poisoning. So Rahu and Ketu, very simply, were born after the churning of the milk of ocean. Hamara Hindu itihas, the Samudra Manthan story. And Rahu and Ketu are one person that was beheaded and then
Right.
became two parts.
Yes, yes.
Right? So just like the churning of the milk of ocean,
Yes.
right? Rahu and Ketu represent those forces in our life that are churning us internally.
Right.
Right? Don't we have a internal struggle that's always going
Yes.
around, right? Inside of us.
Yes.
We have certain treasures inside of us, a lot of poisons that come out of us.
Yes.
So Rahu and Ketu represent that part of our life, let's say the more base part of our life, the
Right.
part that we need to overcome, the negativities that we need to overcome.
Right.
Right? The darker side of our nature is Rahu and Ketu. That's what we need to overcome. So like in the Samudra Manthan, right? They were churning. We go through that churn in our emotions,
Right.
right? That's the story on the astral plane. But if we talk about it here, that's what it's really saying. So Rahu and Ketu again work a lot on shock factor. They're not going to. Shani goes very slow in giving its results. Rahu and Ketu, shock value. They thrive on that, right? And you'll be left stunned. Oh my God, how did that even happen to me?
Yes, yes.
Right? So they're interested in, again, all the grahas. They're not here to harm you. They are just executors of your karma. So they want you to evolve and they churn your psyche in such a way that you let go of all the baser tendencies in your life.
Right.
Now, Rahu and Ketu are very important. I mean, if we talk about the electromagnetic spectrum, you have the Vibgyor, and then you have ultraviolet rays and infrared rays.
Yes.
Ultraviolet rays is Rahu, and
Right.
infrared rays is Ketu. You can't do without either today. Rahu, for instance, is, when we say Rahu and Ketu, we say shadow planets, we can't see them. Just because I can't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Can you see ultraviolet rays or infrared rays with the naked eye? No. But how useful is it to us? When we go to a doctor, we could have blockages in our heart. You can't see it, right?
So true.
So how does Rahu help us? We go, we get a CT scan, we get an MRI, and that is Rahu's contribution
It's beautiful.
in many ways. So what we can't see doesn't mean isn't there. Forensic science is all Rahu. So everything has its use.
Social media.
Everything and social media, we're able to do this podcast today.
So
We're
true.
able to communicate because of Rahu. It has its positives, it has its negatives like everything else. But yes, these are far more powerful forces.
Right.
And in these, I would just say in both Rahu and Ketu periods, it's like you're going down a slide.
Right.
Okay? So don't go too much left or too much right. Stick to the course and you'll be fine.
Right.
Stay disciplined. Wake up at the same time every day. Do your nitya karma. Be honest. I mean, maximum karma we do every day is at work.
Right.
Just because it's work doesn't mean that you can do something dirty,
Being ethical and honest.
unethical. These are things that are always going to come back to you.
Right.
So, with Rahu and Ketu, once you understand them, and that's the whole point of teaching Jyotish, that's where I hope to contribute.
Right.
That once you understand,
Beautiful.
once you understand somebody, a force, an energy, you know how to align
Deal
with them.
Yes.
Very simply. Your life, your control. You can't say this is a system of belief. No. It's a system of knowledge. It's the eye of the Vedas. It's a Vedang. If you don't know about it, that is ignorance. But it is not a system of
Yes.
belief.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Does my foreign visa or my foreign visa or citizenship abroad depend on Rahu?
It does. Rahu is all things foreign. So
Yes.
if you are in a Rahu time period and you're getting an offer to work abroad, please go.
Right.
In all fairness, Rahu is all things foreign.
A general remedy for Rahu, we mentioned of Kal Bhairav Ashtakam. A simple remedy which we can implement in our day-to-day lives, which can help us in Rahu Mahadasha.
Rahu loves to shock.
Right.
He likes to stun you. He loves drama. Okay. The best thing you can do is on a Saturday night, which is the day, which is the time period of Rahu.
Right.
You can shock someone positively.
Okay.
Say you're at a restaurant, you're having a meal, 10% tip everyone gives.
Right.
Give a 30%, give a 40%. That person will be so pleasantly surprised.
Right.
And that shock is something that will cushion you going forward.
Right.
So really, with Rahu, I always say two things.
Right.
Meditate.
Hmm.
Because it can create a lot of smokiness in
Yes,
how you
yes,
see things.
absolutely.
So meditation, pranayam, and again, fasting on a Saturday, Saturday night, not drinking. I know that's the night everyone goes out to party. Very unpopular thing to say,
Yes.
but it does help.
Can Rahu also lead you towards intoxication and
Of
bad
course
habits?
it can. That is
Yes.
why giving up
Yeah.
these intoxication, all types of.
Right.
Yes, it can, which is why giving up intoxicants
Right.
is always recommended.
One of the remedies?
Absolutely.
Yes.
But I would say that for all.
Yes.
I would say that
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
all grahas.
Yes.
But with Rahu, it's always good to take some time out in your day to, or at least begin your day with some meditation and pranayam, because these are both Shani and Rahu are Vayu Tattva Graha.
Right.
The first thing that they do is they knock the wind out of your system. You can get more breathless, more restless. So if you know you're getting into a Rahu or a Saturn period, you have to start a simple breath work, a routine every morning for yourself. It will help you immensely.
Yes. Absolutely. We touched upon all of the major planets. We discussed their remedies. We discussed what they can do to you and how simply by changing subtle habits in your day-to-day life, you can bring about a positive change in them. But right now we live, and as I said, in Rahuvian age, in the age of social media, and astrology has also not been untouched by it. There are so many social media apps that have come up, which tend to promise to you the short-term goals of life, looking for a girlfriend, looking for a partner, getting a job, getting a child. But as we discussed in this podcast, Jyotish, beyond all of this, making you a better person, perhaps. How do you feel, and how do you feel, especially in today's time when we see that daily in newspaper we are getting Rashi Fal, Jyotish Fal. National news in our country are holding Jyotish talks on every single day. Isn't that abuse of Jyotish?
You have to look at it in two ways. Everything can be commercialized today.
Right.
So why not Jyotish? But that is where Guru comes in, Brihaspati comes in, your own wisdom comes in,
Right.
in who you approach.
Right.
When you go to someone for a reading of your birth chart,
Right.
you have to suss out the positive in their chart and guide them in that direction. Jyotish is the science of light. It's meant to bring light to your life, not darkness.
Right.
So someone who says, like, really freaks you out and puts a lot of fears in you is not the person to go to. It has to give light. It has to give hope. It's a guidance.
What to expect from Jyotish?
Everything. You want answers for anything? Jyotish has them. It's
Right.
the secret code
Yes.
that you can learn to crack, really.
Gift of Sanatan to the world?
I would say Sanatan is a gift in itself and Jyotish is a part of it.
Yes.
It's all connected.
Yes.
Jyotish didn't just change my life, it cracked it open.
Beautiful.
It literally did. And its value is not just every day. You know, that's the thing that we talk about, religion versus spirituality,
Yes.
right? You know, spirituality is when you have that experience of God,
Right.
and religion can help you get there.
Right.
But religion is more faith, more belief. Spirituality is more awareness, more knowing,
Right.
right? So again, the difference between the two,
Yes.
between religion and spirituality, is sadhana.
Absolutely.
Nothing more and nothing less. So you have to leave your chart aside also. So Jyotish is just giving you a path to a more fulfilling and more holistic life.
Right.
The choice is always yours. Are you
Right.
going to go for shortcuts? Are you going to do the work yourself to fix your own life? Nobody can do it for you. So
Right.
if there is and we've seen this, if there is an option to doing some very simple remedy, people would rather do that than work on curing something really from the core.
Right.
And that requires effort. It requires discipline.
Perseverance.
Most people are not up for it. They want the easy way out. You can't blame a Jyotish for that. You can't blame the science for that. At the end of the day, this is a science, yes, that's been commercialized a lot because if you go to an astrologer and that astrologer tells you that you need to be a better person
Right.
and you need to work on your karma,
Yes.
they'll probably be out of business very soon. But that is the,
The
crux
reality.
of it.
Yeah.
That is
So
the
true.
reality. And you can change it in your everyday action. You can change it, no one else can.
Right.
So it ties everything in. Knowledge of life is Jyotish.
I'm so glad you brought up this point because there are so many people who might not be into sadhana or worship or perhaps believing in devtas, but they believe in astrology and vice versa. So many people are into worshipping and sadhana, but they believe that I perhaps have my karma in hands, and astrology is something that in today's time has become misleading and have many notions about it, but it's complementing. It's not distorting. I'm so glad to have this conversation today where we have demystified so many of myths surrounding astrology, how subtle changes, simple small habits of keeping your loved ones happy, keeping those who do menial tasks, doing something out of them. Nobody talks about these things. I'm so happy we had this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was really an honor.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Har Har Mahadev.